we're going to start on the back. And the way that we're going to go through our OOV progressions, just to kind of organize it, it's going to go in blocks. We're going to call it, some on the back, some on the side, but it's going to move in different blocks. So the first block is supine progressions. So if you have an OOV or a ball, with an OOV, you're going to sit all the way at the very front of it. And this is where, if you have a band that goes around the knees, put the band around the upper thighs. If you don't have it, it's not a big deal at all. If you have two little weights, 1 or 2 pounds, hold on to them in both hands. If you don't have it, you don't have to. But we're going to lie down onto the back. And first, drop all the weights. Just let your arms rest on the outside of the chest, on the ribs. And if you're on the ball, the tailbone will just be on the ball. And so when you're on the OOV, to make sure you're in the good spot, I want you to lift one leg up into tabletop, and you shouldn't feel pull in your neck. If you do, scoot up a little bit or down, but that's how you know you're in that perfect position. Absolutely no effect on the neck or the shoulders. Find your hip width apart. If you have the band, press outward against the band. Having the band around the thighs helps with the forced closure of a side joint and also helps activate the hips, so it gives more stability and proprioceptive feedback. We're going to start breathing. Take a breath in through the outer ribs. And exhale, pull your ribs down. So take a breath in. And slowly exhale. Inhale out. And exhale in. Just start noticing movement of the ribs outward. We want to focus on that ribcage expansion, the diaphragmatic breath, specifically with OOV work. With the next breath, we're going to reach both arms towards the ceiling and grab your weights, 1 or 2 pounds. Press against the band or just hold your hips hip width apart. We're going to start working on our arm series. Take a breath in, both arms move overhead as you nod the chin. Breathe in. Exhale, coming back. Inhale, arms move overhead as you nod the chin. Exhale, coming back. Keep going here. Focus on not letting your ribs pop up. So as the arms move over, ribs staying connected with abdominals to the pelvis. Notice the length in the back of the neck as the arms move overhead. You also want to focus on movement of the shoulders, so don't allow the shoulders to shrug. Just feel how those scapula just rotating around the upper edge of the OOV. And then coming back. Now let both arms go out to the side. Breathe in. Exhale, coming back. And inhale over. Exhale back. If you have the band or not, as you open the arms, press your knees outward or move your knees outward, and then allow the hips to close as arms come towards each other. So knees open out to the side as arms open. Arms come in, femurs come in. Couple more here. We're moving in symmetry for now, but we're starting to notice that movement while you're on the OOV. So you want to move slow enough to stabilize your torso. This is all about eccentric control. The entire class is to add instability while building stability within the torso. And coming back. Good. Now let's stay here. Let's lower our left arm down to the floor so the elbow touches and the hand stays. Maybe allow that hand to rest on the ribs. So the right arm is reaching up to the ceiling. Now let's slowly float our left hip up into the tabletop. If you have the band, keep it there. You're gonna feel that resistance. If not, totally fine. So from here, we're gonna allow the arm to reach overhead as the leg lengthens long, and axial arm comes in, knee comes in. So we're starting to move in opposition. Opposite arm, opposite leg moves away from each other. Our points of contact are right foot and left elbow. To progress this exercise, maybe float your left elbow off the floor and reach that arm up towards the ceiling. So it's just the right leg that's in contact with the floor. And you can see where your body is today. It might be there, or maybe not quite. Breathe in. And exhale, coming back. We're going to do 2 more here. This is our sagittal plane control. We're moving through flexion and extension of the shoulder and the hip and coming back. Now, keep this position, lower your left elbow down again, keep that left elbow on the ground. Now let your hip move out to the side and bring it in. So just hip abduction, letting it go outward and then coming back in. So if you're on the ball, this movement might be much smaller, and that's totally fine. Having the band will add a little bit more resistance. Now we're going to add the arm movement out to the side as the hip moves out to the side and comes back in. Inhale out, exhale in. And out, good, and in, halfway there. The arm that moves out to the side, make sure that the palm is facing in. And you can even start adding a little bit of external rotation as it moves out to the side, as if you're trying to touch your thumb to the floor as it opens. And then palm rotates in as you come back. Last one. And exhale, come back in. Well done. Let's bend that right elbow, lower left leg to the ground. Now right knee is gonna lift up into the tabletop. Left arm lifts up towards the ceiling. 2 points of contact, left foot and right elbow. Number 1, moving that left arm overhead first. And bring it back. Now let's start adding leg extension as the arm moves overhead. And leg comes back in. Inhale out. Exhale in. This feels pretty good. See if you can reach your right arm towards the ceiling. And stay. It's much harder for me here. Even floating that elbow off the floor might be a great way to start. But with all these progressions, our goal is to improve eccentric control of our body, to improve motor control, which will translate into better stability and better core strength. And it's amazing how over time, you start improving pretty quickly that balance as your nervous system figures out how to recruit appropriate little stabilizers. Last one, and coming back. Now let's lower that right elbow down to the floor. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. We're gonna start moving our right hip out to the side as the left arm falls out to the side and comes back in. Maybe first you can start a couple of with the leg only, just to test your stability, to test your control, and then start adding that opposite arm movement. Breathing through it. Having the weight will add a little bit more of a load, make it challenging. Focus on keeping the hip in the tabletop position. Good. 2 more. And last one. and come back in. Let's lower both legs down and both arms go down, elbows on the floor. Now let's extend, drop the weight, extend arms by your side, and we're gonna bring both legs into tabletop. So if you're on the ball, maybe move yourself. You want to feel imprinted position here of your spine so that you feel that shortened position of the abdominals. Shoulders relaxed. Kind of think about hugging them a little bit around the OOV if you're on one. Arms press into the floor. From here, we're gonna straighten one leg up towards the ceiling. If it doesn't quite straighten, if it's a little bent, totally fine. From here, we're gonna work on leg circles. So keeping the band if you have it, or if not, it's fine too. Let that leg go out to the side, down, and back up. So the circle aren't going to be very big. And if you have resistance band, you're just meeting that resistance at each extreme of the motion. And if you don't have it, you're focusing more on the motor control of the hip. And truly here, it's the movement of the femur in the socket on a stable pelvis. Last one, moving through that direction. Now let's reverse that. Let that leg go down on the long diagonal, slightly out to the side, circle up, and reach to the ceiling. Inhale as we lower. Exhale to go out to the side. Inhale, bring it in. 2 more. The knee that's bent stays very stable. And last one here. Bring it back to the tabletop, bend the knee. We're gonna start with the other leg. We're gonna straighten the opposite leg, toe pointed, and 4 and 4 circles each direction. Inhale up. Circle it out to the side, long diagonal, and control it back. Great work through hip flexors. If you notice any hip clicking, especially one side versus the other, see if you can imprint with abdominals a little bit more and make those circles a little bit less. It's okay if the movement is small because you'll tighten and strengthen those muscles, and then as you start opening them up and moving a little bit greater range of motion, that clicking will start to dissipate. And then let's reverse the position. Leg goes down, out, and back up. And 2, halfway there. Use the arms as needed to help offset with the balance. And the final one. Well done. Last exercise, both knees are bent. We're gonna keep them bent and actually squeeze them together. And it's a double hip hinge. So very small. You're gonna allow both hips to lengthen away from the pelvis and then hinge them back up. Inhale as they move away. So there's a lot of eccentric work on abdominals because you don't want to release that imprint and you just want to work on the hip hinge. So the hip movement from the pelvic movement. 2 more. Inhale out. Exhale in. And last one here. And bring it in. Lower one leg down and then the other. Well done. If you have the band, keep it there. Our second series are going to go into more of a seated position. So if you're on the OOV, you're on the very base of it, like your coccyx just off the floor. So you're just going to scoot forward more. If you have the ball is going to be against your mid-back, against the rib cage. So this is kind of our abdominal work. Arms are going to go behind your head. You're going to press outward against the band. Allow your upper body to rock back. So if you have the ball, you're going to extend over the ball. Breathe in. And then exhale, nod the chin and curl up. So with the OOV, it helps to bring your body forward. It adds a lot more work and load on that upper chest, but it also allows your pelvis to rotate together with the lumbar spine. So nod the chin, exhale, reach arms forward as you curl up. Inhale, curl back down, arms go behind the head. Exhale, nod the chin, tailbone presses down into the OOV, pull the ribs in, curl up. Inhale as we go back down. 2 more. If it's just the ball, your tailbone stays on the floor and you're twisting or you're moving your upper body back and forth over the ball. Well done. Now we're gonna curl up. Arms reach towards the knees. We're gonna go into the side crunches. So left side of the thoracic spine is gonna side bend to the left. Back to center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, center. It's a small movement. The focus is to move that thoracic spine towards the pelvis as the pelvis stays nice and stable. Exhale, inhale, back to center. 1 more side to side. Well done. This is really challenging. Last one. And allow your body to go all the way back. Arms extend. Excellent. Let's come off the OOV. Keep the band if you have it. We're going to flip it around. So now you're going to have a seat at the base of it. So kind of on that pointy part. The legs will stay straight. If you don't have the OOV, you're just going to sit marine in front of the arc barrel. So the arc barrel is going to be behind you and you're just sitting right at the base of it. Arc barrel is it's a great piece of Pilates equipment as well. So we can interchange all those things. But if you have the OOV, you're just at the base of it. Weights are forward. Legs are straight. Having the band is going to give you a little bit more of a control and stability through the hips. So the arc barrel is right behind you, laying along short position. We're going to breathe in. As you exhale, we're going to roll back just halfway. So where the lower back touches the OOV or arc barrel. So you're kind of scooping and curving through that lumbar spine. And then we're going to roll back up into that neutral position. So let's work on that articulation. Exhale, we round back. And inhale, we lift back up. 2 more. Having arm weights will make this harder on the way down, but it will make it a little easier on the way up. And last one here. Now in this last one, let's hold this half roll back position without moving your lower body. Take your left arm out to the side. Breathe in. Exhale, center. Inhale, right arm goes out to the side. And back to center. 1 more side to side. Find yourself looking straight ahead, stabilizing against movement of that arm. And exhale, we're going to come all the way forward. Now let's hinge towards our toes. You can round your back, kind of allow everything to stretch for a second. From here, we're going to go into the saw. So for the saw, we're going to work on rotation. Now, if you're on the OOV, you're sitting in the same position. If you're on the arc barrel, you can actually sit on top of the arc barrel. So your pelvis is a little bit higher than your legs. And it will help with less pinching through the hip joints. So you're a little bit elevated. Legs are staying looking straight forward. We're going to breathe in and start to rotate our torso to the left. So the right arm reaches forward And we twist to the left and look towards the arm, the thumb. And then exhale, come back to center. We're gonna do 4 more to the same side. So inhale, we twist to the left. Exhale as we come back to center. Notice if your hips are moving. You want to find movement through upper torso only. And the legs are staying in the same exact position. That's where having the band helps, because then you can feel if your thighs are moving. Last one here, we rotate to the left and back to center. Now we're gonna rotate to the right, breathe in. And exhale, center. Think about long neck and let your eyes track your right arm so that you turning your head, turning your shoulders, turning your sternum, and kind of reaching forward with the left arm, almost trying to increase that twist. Last one here. And exhale, center. Good. Now we're gonna go into the full saw. So we breathe in as we rotate to the left. Exhale, we flex forward, reach that arm on the outside of the foot. Inhale, we lengthen up. And exhale, we come back to center. Inhale, we rotate to the right. Exhale, we flex forward, arm reaches to the outside of the right foot. Inhale, we lengthen up. And exhale, we come back to center. Last one, side to side. Breathe in, we rotate. Exhale, we flex. Inhale, we lengthen the spine. And exhale, back to center. Last one to the right. Breathe in, we rotate. Exhale, we flex forward. Arm reaches as far as you can. Hips do not move. Inhale, we lengthen up. And exhale, we come back to center. Excellent work. Let's get rid of the band here. And we're gonna go onto the sideline work. So with the OOV, it's going to stay in this position. You're gonna have a seat in the saddle. In my case, it's the left hip. And then my torso will go straight down that ridge line. If you have the ball, you're gonna have the ball. Probably better than the arc barrel. Arc barrel would be a little bit too much. So definitely use the ball underneath the ribs. Now that top leg is nice and heavy. It reaches along. Our body is all the way down. So first we're just gonna start with the side bend position. You want to feel, if you're on the OOV and Lisa, you're testing out to make sure that it feels right, that you're low enough that you feel like you have enough weight in the leg to hold your lower body down. Now from here, we're gonna take our bottom hand forward. And our top arm is over. So the head is gonna go down, the shoulder is gonna go down. The bottom arm stays on the floor, breathe in. Exhale, we're gonna lift our arm, lift our torso, and side bend. And inhale, we go back over. So with the ball, you kind of have to find where that leverage point is. But this is working on that lateral line, on the side of our body. And up for 3. And 4. And come back in. Now the next 4, if this was hard enough, stay there. If you can float and lift your bottom arm, hold it up, and exhale with side bend. Inhale back down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Much more work now. And lift. Foot is staying heavy. That top hip is not hiking. It's the torso that comes closer towards the pelvis. And come back all the way forward. Take the top arm around your hip and the bottom elbow is going to go onto the floor. So the ball, the OOV is right underneath, the elbow is right underneath the shoulder. Check in with your neck. The top leg is going to point through the toes as you lift it up and lower back down. And lift and lower. So side leg series here. This is actually also a lot of work on the neck stabilizers. So if you're starting to feel your neck, kind of check in, bring your chin back. Make sure that the cervical spine is lined up with the rest of the spine, so the head is not too far forward. Last one, lift and hold. We're going into circles. 4 and 4, each direction. The arm at the top of the hip ensures that the hip isn't moving, the pelvis is staying nice and stable, and reversing. Back, up, and forward. 2, 3, and 4. Allow that leg to go down. Let your arm lengthen and let the side of the body lengthen away. Take a deep breath in. See if you can lift your ribs up a little bit more. Create a little bit more of that side bend. And with the next exhale, we're going to come all the way up and switch sides. So, taking the OOV onto the other side, you're gonna have a seat at the base of it. We're gonna go all the way down. And first, we're gonna start with the side bend position. Speaking of the OOV, I signed up for there's finally an equipment reformer and Cadillac based course on the OOV. And they just don't do them often enough, or they didn't used to in the United States, but they're gonna have one in June in Florida. So it will be very cool to kind of incorporate this into the equipment-based Pilates. And there's a lot of studios in the States that do it on the East Coast. The West Coast, we're not quite there. There's a couple studios here, only one I know in Seattle, but I think maybe California. So anyway, it's getting more and more popular. So from here, we're gonna take your bottom arm, bring it forward. So it's gonna stay on the floor. Breathe in. Exhale, lift the arm, lift the torso. Inhale, lengthen away. The bottom arm will press down into the floor to assist in this case. Also notice, focus that the bottom arm pushes down and a little bit forward so that they're keeping your torso as if you're moving between two panes of glass. Last one, as we side bend. Now the next 4, lift and float that arm off the floor. Exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale up. Two more. Good. And lift. And back to center. Well done. From here, we're gonna bend that elbow, go into the supported plank, arm goes onto the hip, toe points, we lift and lower the leg. As you work here, notice that work is in the back of the glute, not in the front. We don't wanna feel a T-bend, TFL, quad as much. We really wanna get into the glute medius here, that kind of a primary hip abductor. Excellent. Next one, we'll lift and hold, and we're gonna go into the circles. 3, good. And 4, let's switch. Up and back. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Let that leg drop heavy, and side bend over the ball of the OOV. Think of taking a breath in, lifting your ribs up towards the ceiling, increasing that side bend in the spine. And then as we exhale, we're going to come back out of it. Now, our next series will be our bridge series. So this could be done with an OOV. And we're going to do it today this way. So the bigger part of the OOV will be towards you. If you don't have the OOV, the foam roll will work as well. So your feet are going to be on the foam roll. We just want a little bit of that unstable surface. As you lie down on your back, both feet will go on the bigger part of the OOV, right on each side of the crease. Having OOV this way adds instability side to side. So we're really going to work on that plane of instability. Take a breath in. Exhale, start curling your pelvis back and articulating into the bridge. Let's hold this bridge for a second. Make sure your glutes are active, that your ribs are pulling towards the pelvis, that your low back isn't the primary work where you feel it. We're gonna reach our arms up to the ceiling here. As we're holding this contraction, let's take your left arm and reach it overhead. Breathe in. Exhale back to center. Inhale, right arm goes out. Exhale, center. One more. One arm reaches overhead. Exhale, center. And right arm reaches overhead. And comes back to center. Now left arm reaches out to the side. Breathe in. Exhale, center. Right arm out to the side. And center. One more time, side to side. Notice if your pelvis starts to drop from side to side. Try to stabilize it. Come back to center. And let's soften our spine and roll sequentially down. Vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way. Arms are still reaching up. Breathe in. Exhale, we're going to roll up again. Now find a stable position. Both arms are going to reach overhead. And back to center. And two. Both arms over. Inhale, center. Now both arms out to the side for two. And last one. And back to center. Let's soften our spine and roll all the way down. Let's lower our elbows so the elbows will press into the floor. Now shift to where your left leg is in the middle of the OOV. So the OOV is going to move a little bit more to the left. The right leg will lift into the tabletop. So if you're on the foam roll, you're just going to keep your left leg on the foam roll. So I keep that left heel in the groove. That's how I know I'm in a good spot. Can we roll up through that left leg only as the right leg is in tabletop? Elbows are pressing down. Shoulder bridge. That right leg is going to lengthen. And back to center for 4. And 2. And center. If your hamstring starts to cramp, see if you can push your elbows down more. Focus more on that glute connection, pressing into the heel. And center. Good. Last one. Keep holding it here. We're going to check the balance. Reach your left arm up to the ceiling. So left leg, right elbow on the floor. Left arm, right leg up. Can we reach our arm and leg away from each other for 4? Inhale, center. And out. And center. Almost there. And out. And center. Last one. And center. Lower that arm down and roll your spine all the way. That was challenging. Switching to the other side. So move the OOV or get your foam roll in a good position. So the right heel will be in the center of that groove, lined up kind of with the second toe. Now, if you're feeling hamstring was cramping with that exercise, having a band around both thighs as you're doing that will help with the hamstring because it's going to transfer work to the glute more. So exhale. We're going to bring our left leg into tabletop. You have to put a band around your knees and roll up. Elbows press all the way down. From here, we're going to get our pelvis in a good position. So sometimes you're going to notice that hip hike. So you think about lengthening that left hip away from the ribs. Here we go. Leg straightens and comes back up for 4. And out. And out for 3. And 4. Good. Opposite arm lifts up. Leg and arm move away from each other for 4. And comes back in. This is the posterior chain work. Pushing into that opposite elbow, pressing into the leg that's on the OOV of the foam roll, and come back in, lower the elbow down, and roll your spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Well done. We're gonna do last one with the bridge series. On this one, the OOV is gonna go sideways. Your foam roll will stay just like where it is. So the difference between the foam roll and the OOV, the foam roll adds instability forward and back. With the OOV, now we have side to side this way, and then we have this way. So it's a little bit forward and back when it's this way. So this is more similar to the foam roll. But when the OOV was here, this was more that sagittal plane motion. So it's a different feeling if you're on the OOV. Both feet are going to go on the bigger, fatter part. Elbows pressed down. Exhale, we're going to roll up. And all I want you to do is to rock the OOV forward and back. So if it's a foam roll, you're going to try to rock it slightly forward and back. This is a hamstring dominant exercise. And that's kind of what we want. But we're still keeping our glutes on. And 3. And 2. And 1. Come back in and slowly roll back down. And let's slowly roll up. This is totally random, but as I'm here in my basement in Spokane, I just saw a moose walk outside. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, is that a big dog? I almost freaked out. Thought it was a bear. Anyways, keep on going. So our next series is a lunge series today. So we're going to use foam roll for this one and a ball. First thing, if you have, let's use the foam roll for this. So the right knee with the OOV is going to go inside the saddle, and the shin will be elevated on the long part of the OOV. With the foam roll, your knee is just going to be on the foam roll. Now the opposite leg is going to come up forward into a lunge. So with the foot elevated, it really forces us to work through that hip quite a bit. Looking straight ahead, let's tuck our tailbone under so we feel the front of the hip. We're not kind of dipping into our lumbar spine. Hips are forward. We're going to bring our arms forward. First, breathe in here. Exhale, one arm will open out to the side and come back to the center. Inhale, left arm opens. Exhale, center. One more side to side. Good. Now we're going to integrate our torso. So as that right arm opens to the side, you're going to look to the right and rotate, just like we did earlier in the seated position, working towards the saw. And exhale, we come back to center. So we're only working to the right side. So my left knee is forward in the lunge. Exhale, rotate to the right. Inhale, center. 2 more. And center. And last one here. Come back center. Now we're going to go to the left. So right arm I'm reaching forward. I'm rotating across my bent knee and looking towards my thumb. So I'm tracing my eyes with the movement of the arm and come back to center. And inhale out. Exhale, center. The leg that's on the foam roll or OOV is stabilizing. Last one here. and come back to center. Now let's bring hands behind your head. So we're in this prisoner position, I call it. Torso will stay upright, and then you're going to bend that front knee as far forward as you can. So it's a deep lunge, and then come back up to the center. We're going to go for 4. Now, move only as far as it feels good for you. If it's too much load on the knee, perhaps you're just holding this position. If it's a little bit of motion, that's great. And come back to center. Well done. We're going to lower our arms to the floor. Sit back towards that leg that's on the OOV. If it's the femoral, roll it up the way. Maybe you can straighten the opposite leg, pull your toes up for a second for a hamstring stretch. And then let's switch to the other side. So the knee goes inside the groove. So Lisa, as you're kind of thinking about your OOV, this should not be painful on the knee because OOV gives enough, or should give enough cushion for the kneecap to kind of sink into that groove. So other side might feel completely different. Gonna check in with the knee that's bent. So you want to sort of drop that sit bone towards the floor. Line yourself up, heel is right underneath the knee, you're facing forward, your pelvis is slightly posteriorly tilted so that you feel the front of the thigh stretch. Arms reach forward. First, we're starting with rotation to the left, across the leg that's on the OOV, or the femoral. Breathe in, we twist towards the left, look towards that left arm, exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. And exhale, center. And rotate. You might notice quite a bit of difference side to side, especially if you ever had any injuries in the knee, in the hip, even in the foot. Let's go to the other side. Breathe in as you rotate and exhale, center. And I think this really helps to work maybe on those small stabilizers that didn't get turned on at some point. Good. Last one. And come back to center. Very good. Now, let's go arms behind our head. We're going to push the back of our neck into our hands. So chin is tucked, the back of the neck is long. That's kind of why this arm position is there, that you want to just focus on activating cervical extensors. And then we're going to lunge forward and deep. And come back to center. I didn't do a warm up on this side. I just realized that where we're just using arms. We just jump straight through to the hard stuff. And forward. And center. Last one here. And come back to center. Arms are going to open, go on the outside of the foot in front. Sit back towards that opposite heel. Maybe pull that hamstring up towards you. And we're going to bring it back. Now we're going to go into the prone series or extension work. We're almost there. So with the OOV, it's going to go down on the opposite side. Now, if you have a band, this is a great time to put a band above the knees. If you don't have the OOV, you're going to be on the ball, and the ball is going to kind of go, or you're going to be on the foam roll, Maureen. That's what you're going to, oh, sorry, arc barrel. You're going to put your arc barrel in the same way as if you were rolling down, and you're going to go over it. So, band around the knees. The OOV will go kind of right underneath the chest, and the pointed part of the OOV is right on the pubic bone, sort of thing. Now, the legs with the band will press outward, and it's going to give you that force closure, form and force closure for a side joint. So sometimes, if you have any back discomfort with extension work, having the band and pushing thighs outward will really help stabilize that area. So if you're on the arc barrel, you're going to be, your pubic bone is going to be right in the apex of that arc barrel. So you feel your lower back is most flexed. Arms come forward. Now we're gonna bend the elbows, put it on each side. Push outward with the leg against the band. Now use the elbows to breathe in and lift your upper torso into extension. So the first couple, we're just working on technique. And then exhale as we bend forward over the OOV. So inhale, elbows, forearms press as we lift up. Same thing over the arc barrel. It will feel much more enjoyable over the arc barrel here. And then exhale as we go back forward. 2 more. Inhale, we'll lift. Keep pressing against the band if you have it. Exhale, we'll lower. And last one, breathe in as you lift. Now my lower ribs are still on the OOV or arc barrel. So I am extending, but I'm trying to work more on the upper thoracic spine. And then we lower back down. Now, let's bring both arms forward with palms down onto the floor. Right arm will go behind your head. We're gonna breathe in, push into the floor with the left arm. Lift our head, lift that right elbow up. So we're doing the same, we're extending, but now we keep our right arm behind the head, which is upward rotation of the shoulder blade. Once you're there, can you hold it, straighten that right arm out to the side, bring it back behind your head, and lower your upper torso down. 3 more just like that. Inhale, we'll lift up into extension. Left arm stays on the floor for support. Right arm straightens to the side, comes back behind your head, and then your torso lowers back down. And 2 more, breathe in. Exhale, arm lengthens. Inhale, goes behind your head and lowers back down. Last one here. In and lower. Switch aside. Right arm is straight forward, left arm behind your back. Left elbow lifts. Inhale, we extend up. Hold this position, straighten your left arm. Bring that left arm behind your head and lower everything back down. And inhale up. You might notice how much harder it is on one side if that shoulder range of motion is different. Inhale up. Focus on that nice long neck. For me, it's definitely harder on this side. And bring back down. Last one, we're almost done. Breathe in. Arm opens, comes back, and we'll lower back down. Let's press up with both arms into a child's pose or shell stretch. The forehead can just rest on the OOV if it's right in front of you. Take a breath in here. Now let's come up on hands and knees. Don't need any equipment. Feet are just on the floor, arms are on the floor. Nice long neck. Find your neutral pelvis. If you have a band, great. Keep it above the knees, just where it is. I want you to nod the chin and look down. So just the head movement. Now keep your chin tucked as you're starting to articulate your spine and looking up, but the chin is tucked, so you're stacking that lower cervical, C6, C5, C4, C3, and at the very top, you're gonna release the chin tuck and look up. Now nod the chin first, and then flex your cervical spine. Nothing else is moving. And then keep your chin tuck as you're starting to extend your cervical spine. And then releasing it at the top. Let's do this a couple more times. So first, head nod. Then our spine flexes. Head stays down as our spine starts to extend from the lower segments. And then we look up. Now nod the chin and look down. Find your neutral position. The back of the neck is reaching up towards the ceiling. We're firmly pressing into the floor, so our shoulder blades press away from each other, so the back is kind of flat. Now, upper spine does not move, shoulder does not move. We're going to exhale and curl our lumbar spine. So we imprint as much as we can, nothing else moves. And then start with the tailbone as we extend our lumbar spine and the sacrum is up towards the ceiling. So exhale, abdominals, and then the glutes. Tuck our pelvis under and curve our lumbar spine. And then inhale, our tailbone lifts, our belly drops, and we extend. 2 more. Exhale, flex. Inhale, extend. Because of the curves of our spine, we should be able to segmentally move cervical independently and lumbar independently. And everyone has a different amount of mobility here, but you want to work on that control independently from each other. Now we're going to start with the neutral position, and we're going to finish with these articulations. So we're going to combine it all, starting with the tailbone. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your stomach in. Now start pulling your chest in, not in the chin, and flexing the head. So we're in the C curve. As we go into extension, let's start from the tailbone first. So the tailbone unfolds, belly drops, chest drops. Keep your chin tucked as the lower cervical spine starts to extend, and then we'll look up. Now we're going to curl starting from the head, not the chin. Look down, pull your chest in, pull your ribs in, then start pulling your belly in, curving through that lumbar spine and tucking all the way in. And let's come back to the center. And we are done on that note. Thank you so much for joining me.